Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out today. Thank you for the warm welcome to Mohawk College. It's great to be here. It's great to be back in Hamilton. Thank you. And it's a real pleasure to be with members of our strong Liberal team, Sean Burt, Anne Tenier, Bob Bratna, Jennifer Stebbing, and Phil Rose, and of course our amazing candidate here for Hamilton West Ancaster Dundas, Philomena Tassing. This is the team ready to bring real change to Ottawa. See, this is Stephen Harper's 8th election. He's running for a 4th term as Prime Minister. This government is out of ideas. This government is out of touch. And the good news is, if we stay focused and work hard, in just a few days, they'll also be out of time. We can replace them with a better government, not just a different government. It's time for real change. It's time we had a government focused on young Canadians. If you're a young person in Canada, or the parent of one, you already know this. Thanks to Stephen Harper, we're now used to the idea that there are no good jobs for young Canadians. It doesn't surprise us anymore that recent graduates are burdened with massive student debt for years. Under Stephen Harper, it just seems normal that home ownership be out of reach for Canadians even well into their 30s. And nobody now wonders why we raise an eyebrow. Nobody even raises an eyebrow when young Canadians say they're just not interested in voting. You see, Stephen Harper didn't single-handedly create those problems, but in his 10 long years in power, he has not lifted a finger to solve any of those problems. That means you still can't find work. You're still paying off student debts. You still can't afford a house. And you're still wondering whether politics or politicians can do anything to help. You see, we can't afford another decade like the Harper decade. Après 10 ans du gouvernement de Stephen Harper, les Canadiens veulent du changement. Un changement de leadership, une nouvelle approche, une vision plus optimiste, un plan plus ambitieux. Et pour bâtir l'avenir, il faut investir aujourd'hui. Nous devons investir pour nous assurer que vous, la prochaine génération, avez les mêmes chances de réussir que vos parents ont eues. C'est dans notre intérêt à tous que vous trouviez un bon emploi bien payé quand vous sortirez de l'école. Et c'est à nous d'y voir. My friends, your government can't just cross its fingers for your success. It needs you to be successful. We need to help young Canadians get a good education and a good start in life. We need real change. See, now, I have met and talked with thousands of young Canadians like all of you here at Mohawk College today. And I know what it means to be investing your time, energy, and money to be ready to build a successful life and make a positive contribution to your community and to your country. You are investing in your future and in Canada's future. So it's time a government invested in you. That's why, as part of our plan to create jobs, grow the economy, and help the middle class, we'll immediately invest to help young Canadians like all those attending classes here at Mohawk. That's why we'll invest $1.3 billion over 3 years, 13 times more than the NDP say they will, to create jobs and opportunities for young Canadians. We'll also invest $40 million each year to help employers create more co-op placements for students in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and business programs. A new Liberal government will also make it easier to get a post-secondary education and easier to pay off debts at the end of it. We'll increase the maximum Canada Student Grant for low-income full-time students by 50% to $3,000 a year. And we'll increase it to $1,800 a year for low-income part-time students. We'll also ensure that the student loan system is more flexible. And we'll make sure that no graduate with student loans has to make any repayment until they're earning at least $25,000 a year. Nous allons investir dans vous, nos jeunes, et dans votre avenir. Nous investirons 1,3 milliard de dollars sur 3 ans, 13 fois plus que ce que promet le NPD, pour créer des emplois et des débouchés pour les jeunes Canadiens. Et nous investirons 40 millions de dollars chaque année pour créer plus de stages pour les étudiants en sciences, en technologie, en génie et en études commerciales. Nous faciliterons l'accès à l'éducation postsecondaire et rendrons plus facile le remboursement des dettes étudiantes. Nous augmenterons le montant maximal des bourses d'études du gouvernement du Canada et les rendrons accessibles à plus de Canadiens. Les montants seront portés à 3 000 par année pour les étudiants à temps plein et 1 800 par année pour des étudiants à temps partiel. Et finalement, nous rendrons les prêts étudiants plus flexibles. Et nous nous assurerons que les diplômés n'aient pas à rembourser leurs prêts étudiants tant qu'ils ne gagnent pas au moins 25 000 $ par année. That's our plan. That's the kind of good work government can do when it puts the real needs of young Canadians at the heart of what it does. And that's why the choice you make Monday matters. Because you do have a choice. I won't pretend that you don't. To suggest otherwise would be arrogant and an insult to your intelligence. So I'm not asking you to look at the polls. I'm asking you to look at our platform. Yeah. This is the most progressive platform being offered this election. And that's thanks to you and your ideas. Because you told us what matters to you, and we listened. This election, the most progressive platform is the Liberal platform. You see, ours is the only plan that's being straight with you about what it's going to take to grow our economy. Ours is the only plan that will invest now in transit and affordable housing. Ours is the only plan that will address income inequality by raising taxes on the wealthiest 1% so we can cut them for the middle class. Ours is the only plan that will give 9 out of 10 families more money every month, and ours is the only plan that will lift 315,000 kids out of poverty. My friends, I'm optimistic about Canada's future. You can make the difference. Your vote matters. Now, Stephen Harper has done all he can to discourage young people from voting because he doesn't want you to vote. We have the chance in this election to make it better, to beat fear with hope, to beat cynicism with hard work. We have the chance to enact a vision of this country that's confident and positive. We have the chance to bring real change. Now, Stephen Harper wants you to think that better just isn't possible. His job depends on it. Well, on October 19th, let's prove that in Canada, better is always possible. Thank you for coming out. I'm going to turn and take a few questions from media there, and then I'll come and say hi to as many of you as I can. This is the first of 5 events in 5 cities we're doing today. We are working extremely hard right across the country to make sure that everyone knows about our plan to cut taxes for the middle class by raising them on the wealthiest 1%. Our plan to put more money in the pockets of 9 out of 10 Canadian families, and our plan to invest right now in transit and infrastructure that Canadians so desperately need. That's what I'm glad to be talking about, and that's why I'm turning to media.
Mr. Trudeau, Sean Leathong, CHCH News. If Stephen Harper is elected to a minority government, would you at least be open to the idea of forming a coalition with Tom Mulcair?
One of the things that I've seen across the country is that Canadians are looking for change. Canadians are tired of a government that chooses secrecy and division over pulling people together and being open. Tired of a government that has the worst record on job growth from since the World War II, and the worst record on economic growth since the Great Depression. We are working hard every single day to put out a strong alternative, a plan for a better government, not just a different government, and I am confident that on October 19th, Canadians are going to choose real change.
Yes. That doesn't really hit on the issue of a possible coalition. What, if you were elected to a minority government, how would you stay in power? You'd have to certainly make nice with Mr. Mulcair at that point.
One of the things that is great about election campaigns is that it's Canadians who get to choose what their government is and what their parliament looks like. And what Canadians don't want is politicians organizing backroom deals around who actually gets to wield power. I trust Canadians. I know that Canadians are going to make a real and strong choice on October 19th. And as the Liberal Party has in the past, and as I have demonstrated throughout my leadership with an open, collaborative approach that works with provinces, that respects our municipalities and our mayors, and that is open to ideas from across the political spectrum, we will put the service of Canadians at the front of everything we do, and we will do what's in the best interest of Canadians, which in our case means putting forward this great plan to lower taxes and put more money in the pockets of 9 out of 10 Canadian families.
Tamaral, Terresco, Radio-Canada. Monsieur Trudeau, vous dites que vous n'allez pas dire quoi faire aux Canadiens, que vous leur faites confiance, que vous faites campagne de façon transparente et que vous êtes honnête. Pourquoi vous ne leur dites pas que vous voulez un gouvernement majoritaire?
Parce que nous savons que c'est les Canadiens qui vont décider. Les Canadiens savent très bien qu'ils ont besoin d'un meilleur gouvernement que le gouvernement-ci. Et je n'ai pas la surconfiance pour parler de stratégie politique. Je sais que les Canadiens vont prendre la bonne décision. Je travaille très, très fort à travers le pays et c'est certain qu'on veut pouvoir former un gouvernement fort, de pouvoir livrer tout ce qui est dans notre plateforme pour les Canadiens et j'ai confiance qu'ils vont faire ce choix-là. Mais est-ce que je demande aux Canadiens de voter pour nous? Oui. Est-ce que je leur demande de voter pour nous à travers le pays? Oui. Est-ce que je leur demande pour un gouvernement majoritaire? Oui.
Les conservateurs publient aujourd'hui dans des journaux très ciblés, Punjabi et aussi chinois, des publicités qui vous accusent, qui les prévient en fait que vous allez ouvrir des bordels dans leur communauté, d'épiceries et encourager la vente de marijuana aux enfants. Qu'est-ce que vous répondez?
On a vu tout au long de, pas juste cette campagne, mais du style de gouverner de M. Harper, qu'il mise toujours sur la division, les attaques, et ne s'empêche jamais de dire des faussetés aux Canadiens quand ça l'arrange. Ces politiques de peur et de division ne sont pas dignes d'un premier ministre et ne sont pas ce que les Canadiens s'attendent à avoir d'un premier ministre potentiel. Moi, je me suis engagé à faire une campagne positive, ce que je continue à faire, et je pense que c'est à M. Harper d'expliquer pourquoi il continue de ne pas dire la vérité aux Canadiens et de miser sur la peur, plutôt que sur l'optimisme d'un pays qui est par nature optimiste, ouvert et ambitieux. I think we've seen over the course of this campaign, and indeed over the course of Mr. Harper's government, that he never misses an opportunity to divide, to play up fear and division, and even to directly mislead Canadians. Canadians are tired of that. Canadians want real change, and that's why we are so focused on putting forward a positive plan. And we're talking about our plan every step of the way in every stop across this country because Canadians need a better government, not just a different government. And I think it's up to Mr. Harper to explain why he's choosing to mislead Canadians about me. But quite frankly, I'm going to let Mr. Harper continue to focus on me. I'm going to stay focused on Canadians.
Bonjour. Vous demandez donc un gouvernement majoritaire aux Canadiens. C'est ce que vous espérez. Vous allez au Québec demain. Les Québécois, depuis longtemps, ne votent pas en majorité pour le Parti libéral. Qu'est-ce qui a changé? Qu'est-ce que vous pensez que vous offrez de différent aux Québécois cette fois-ci?
Les Québécois à qui j'ai parlé depuis 3 ans, comme j'ai parlé aux Canadiens de tous les coins de ce pays, me disent qu'ils ont besoin d'aide. Ils ont besoin de plus d'argent dans leur poche à la fin du mois. Ils ont besoin d'aide avec les coûts élevés d'élever leurs enfants. Ils ont besoin d'investissements dans leur municipalité, dans leur région, dans leur ville. Ils ont besoin d'un gouvernement qui est à l'écoute. M. Harper, depuis 10 ans, est en train de complètement négliger le Québec et ses intérêts, comme il le fait pour les Canadiens de la classe moyenne à travers le pays, parce qu'il préfère donner des avantages et des bénéfices aux mieux nantis, plutôt qu'aux Canadiens qui sont de la classe moyenne et qui travaillent fort pour se joindre à la classe moyenne. M. Mulcair, lui, il prend les Québécois pour acquis. Il offre un système de garderie dans 8 ans moins bon que ce que le Québec a déjà. Il offre un salaire minimum national auquel 90% des travailleurs faisant le salaire minimum vont pas accéder. Et il offre une méga ronde de débats constitutionnels. Les Québécois veulent de l'aide maintenant et directement. C'est pour ça que nous investissons dans leur communauté, où nous mettons plus d'argent dans les poches de 9 familles sur 10 et nous augmentons les impôts pour les mieux nantis pour les baisser pour la classe moyenne. Nous avons un plan concret pour remplacer M. Harper avec un meilleur gouvernement et c'est basé sur ce que les Québécois et tous les Canadiens me disent depuis 3 ans. On a écouté et on présente une vision meilleure de ce pays qui reflète les valeurs des Québécois et des autres Canadiens.
Mr. Trudeau, good morning. When the election was called, you were somewhat critical that this was a long campaign, 78 days, that it was very expensive. With the benefit of hindsight, and you're standing in the polls right now, do you think that you've benefited the most out of this long campaign?
I'm still critical about the millions of dollars more that this election has cost Canadians because Mr. Harper thought that he could outspend everyone else and, quite frankly, play games with the Canadian public by giving us the longest election campaign in history. We have stayed focused over the past 10 weeks, as we have over the past 3 years, in getting our message and our plan out in a positive way. And the opportunity to get out to more communities and talk about our plan and talk about the positive vision we're putting out, rather than having Canadians hear nothing but negative attacks, which is what the other parties have put forward, has demonstrated that Canadians want a better style of politics. We're not a cynical people. We are a hopeful, optimistic country. And to be able to respond to that consistently over 10 weeks with a positive vision for this country has certainly been what Canadians have been asking for in terms of real change. And we still have 5 days to go and an awful lot of events to continue to show Canadians that we're serious about bringing forward a better government, not just a different government.
Mr. Trudeau, there's a real crisis unfolding here with U.S. Steel, or what remains of U.S. Steel. What specifically would a Liberal government do to protect those pensions and those benefits, but also what would a Liberal government do to prevent such a scenario from happening with another foreign takeover?
Obviously, this is a situation that is extremely concerning to us and to obviously many people who are worried about their pensions and their future. Income insecurity, particularly for pensioners, is an issue right across the country, which is why we've committed to working with the provinces to increase the CPP, to restore the age of retirement from 67 to 65, and to put more money in the pockets of our most vulnerable elderly seniors by increasing GIS by close to $1,000 a year for vulnerable elderly single seniors. On U.S. Steel, obviously, the Canadian government needs to work with provincial partners and with a wide range of actors to ensure that we're doing everything we can to protect people's pensions. They've paid into pensions throughout the course of their life. They rely on those for their retirements, and the federal government needs to be at the table to try and figure out forward-going steps.
Would you take another look at the Investment Canada Act?
I think one of the things that we've seen is we understand how global investment is important for our businesses, for our international competitiveness, for creating Canadian jobs. But it always has to be in Canada's best interest. And unfortunately, we have a government that over the past years seems to have made decisions around foreign investment based on case-by-case or on the back of a napkin political concerns, rather than what truly is in the best interest of Canadians. And I have pledged that if we earn the trust of Canadians in 5 days' time, that we will be an open, transparent, and responsible government that shows that we are always acting in Canadian interests. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I appreciate that you say Canadians are trying to decide who the next government will be, but they're also trying to decide whether they want a minority government. If you are in that position as the leader of a minority government, I think Canadians deserve to know what you would do to stabilize that government.
The Liberal Party has always worked with other parties in the House. We've had many minority governments in the history of this country that have done an excellent job. The party is a party that is always willing to collaborate across the aisle on issues that are important to Canadians. That is what we're always going to do, and that's the nature of the party. But we have 5 more days to work hard to convince Canadians that there is an option. There is an option for a party out there that won't take Canadians for granted, that will actually invest right now in our communities, in transit, in infrastructure, that will put more money in the pockets of 9 out of 10 Canadian families, and that will raise taxes for the 1% while lowering them for the middle class. Mr. Harper can do as many game show simulations as he likes. He cannot change the facts that the Liberal Party is the party offering to put more money in the pockets of everyday Canadians. And his plan puts more money in the pockets of the wealthiest Canadians. Well, for 10 years, that plan hasn't worked for Canadians, and that's why it's time for a change.
Following along that path, I appreciate you don't want to talk about strategy publicly, but your team is for sure talking about it. Do you see a path, and what path, to a majority government, Mr. Trudeau?
I have been working hard across this country for the past 3 years, but especially for the past 10 and a half weeks, to meet with as many Canadians as possible and put out a positive vision of what a responsible government can do to put more money in the pockets of everyday Canadian families and to invest in our communities in the real needs that communities like Hamilton have, for better GO train service, for better roads and infrastructure, for better social infrastructure. These are the kinds of things that Canadians have been asking for, and the Liberal Party is the only party to deliver them. Mr. Mulcair made the wrong choice. He chose to balance Stephen Harper's budget at all costs, which means he cannot invest now in programs that Canadians need to lift 315,000 kids out of poverty. He cannot invest now to create the transit that Canadians rely on to get to work and get home in time for their kids' soccer game. Mr. Harper is offering nothing but more of the same and trying to distract you and scare you into voting for him by misleading Canadians about what the Liberal Party is offering. We know Canadians better than they do. We have listened to Canadians for the past 3 years. We have put together a responsible, ambitious platform that responds to what Canadians have been asking for, and we, together, with your help, if we work hard, are going to offer Canadians a better government on October 19th. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thank you very much.